Kat, you doing Facebook? Who's doing Facebook? Hey, you guys. We're not sure who's talking Facebook, so I'm going to talk Facebook Day. It's Gloria Mayfield Banks. I'm so excited about this show. Why am I excited about this show? I'm excited about this show because it's Detroit, it's Aretha, it's soul, it's hitting it, it's hot, and it's going to be so exciting. I just love talking to families, and I just love talking to families who know things about people that we don't know people, and we don't know the things about them. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, you guys, you got to do a favor. If you love soul music, if you love Aretha, if you love Jennifer Hudson, what? You got to call in. You got to call in with the story, what you love about it, what you love, what you're looking forward to. Remember, it helps our guests as well feel great. So if you call in at 313-778-7600 and don't play in the black background, we will love you for it because it's going to come in a minute. Oh, here we go. Talk to you in a minute.
It's going down. It's going down. It's going down on a Tuesday. It's going down on Tuesday. An absolutely gorgeous day in the D. And you are listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation-WFDF. And I'm your host today, Crisette Ellis from the D, and I'm here with my Force of Friendship girlfriends, Gloria, Caterina, and I don't know, Sabrina is in St. Croix enjoying the sun. Oh, she's here. Okay. All right. I was getting ready to say she's not on Facebook Live, but she may be on the phone. You know, she ain't trying to miss too many shows because she know how we roll up in the Force of Friendship.
Come up missing. You might come up missing.
Sabrina. Absolutely, because we got a lot to talk about and we absolutely need your voice. And you guys know we are here Monday through Friday. And of course, we are always excited to spend this time with you. And you know how we do it. We talk about it all. We talk about our issues, your issues, the world's issues, and everything in between. And so, of course, we are here to bring some light, to bring some laughter, and to bring some love. And of course, we're always looking for the lessons. And so today we're excited about you and about building our tribe. So we want you to tell your girlfriend, tell somebody to check us out. They can check us out on 910 AM, the Superstation app, as well as on our Force of Friendship Facebook page, as well as the 910 AM Facebook page. And so we absolutely want you to check us out because we are building a strong tribe and you are a part of it. And of course, guys, this is a power-packed hour of talk radio, and we always look forward to connecting with you. So today, you guys, our show is going to be hot. It's going to be amazing. And you know what? It's going to be a feel-good show because we're going to take a walk down memory lane as we talk about the one, the only, the queen of soul, Miss Aretha Franklin. And I'm telling you, yes, she deserves all of that applause, And we are going to talk about the new movie, Respect, that just hit the theaters. It follows the rise of Aretha Franklin's career from a child singer in her father's church choir to her international superstardom. Respect is a remarkable true story of Franklin's journey to find her voice. So we're going to talk about that. And you guys, joining us today is Sabrina Owens, who is the niece of Aretha Franklin. So we got her family up in the house on today. And so we can't wait to talk to her about her memories of her aunt. And so we want you to call us at 313 778-7600. And you know what? Tell us, what is your favorite memory of Aretha Franklin? You know, what was your mother doing, you know, when she was in the kitchen cooking her food? What song was she listening to? What is your favorite song? So call in today and tell us your favorite Aretha Franklin story. Well, you guys, before we meet Sabrina Owens, you guys, there's so much that is going on in the world. And I'm telling you, it is some hot stuff that's going on today. How about Gloria, Governor Andrew Cuomo?
Okay. Oh my goodness. It is, and you know, I'm over here in the DMV, the east side over here. We are burning up with this information, burning up with the reality, burning up with this time last year. He was the favorite person in the world. We were like,
Absolutely.
What does he have to say about COVID? What is he going to do about COVID? Let him be the president. He is the best one. And now it's like, OMG. That is, I mean, she was like, this is what it looks like. This is what it is. They could end up with a woman governor of New York. Can you believe that? We could have a woman vice president and a woman governor of New York. Women run the world. I'm just going to go back to Beyonce. But today it's all about Aretha. It's all about Aretha today. But I'm telling you what, women run the world for real. And it is crazy.
But you know, that just goes to remind you, that as amazing, it doesn't take away from his leadership. He could be an amazing leader, no doubt. What he did as it related to COVID, have respect, but it just reminds you spiritually and personally that he is but a man, okay? With faults, issues. He got issues. He got some serious issues.
Yeah. Now, let me just say this, you know, as they say, there's two sides to every story. So I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate when it comes to, you know, because when I heard the reports, I was like, oh, he's out of there. Oh, they're so going to, you know, pull him out of office. They're so going to recall him. And then when he came on and he started talking about, you know, how he touches faces and he kissed people on the cheek and on their head, and showed all of these pictures of him doing it to men, doing it to children. He showed a picture of his mother. And so one of the things that he said, and this is probably a great conversation for another time, a lot of times, depending on the era in which you were raised, how you greet people, what you say to them, while it was appropriate and it didn't mean anything then, now because of the Me Too movement, because of a lot of sexual harassment, some of the things that you did may be considered inappropriate now, even though you didn't mean it in a sexual way. Because remember, President Biden, they were trying to talk about him and some of the things that, you know, he was always hugging the women and that kind of thing. And, you know, he said, that's just how they did it back then. So what do you guys think? Do you think that men and women who in the past, they have greeted people and not said things, but greeted people the way they did it, it's not appropriate now? So are they held to a standard that maybe they shouldn't be held to?
Yes. No, they're held to a higher standard. They are held to a higher standard. And the more power you have, the higher your standard is, because it's not just what you do, it's what other people see you do. And I do like when we were watching the Olympics and you see that Italian guy get so excited about getting a double gold medal that they got a chance to share. I said to myself, now he was really Italian. I mean, he is the most emotional man on the face of the earth. So I understand that piece of it. But we all know that we're married to men who have a higher standard that they have to adhere to. They just have to. And then you match that with the times. You have to be aware of the times. I agree with you, Chris. There are always two sides to the story, but you do have to be held to a higher. We're held to our culture is held to a very, 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 very high standard that we don't even have an opportunity to bend to the left or to the right. So yes, he's held to a higher standard.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Not. So
and some women lie.
I'm gonna tell you something. Some women lie. So you have to put that piece on it too. Yeah, so Sabrina. Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, even from the way you greet people with honey or sweetheart, and you don't. That's not sexual harassment. That is not no. That's not sexual harassment. I think that those who are accused, that will be their battle cry. If somebody took it the wrong way, but we don't know what in today's society. Harassment for one is not harassment for somebody else. So you just have to walk a very straight road past these days. I mean, it was interesting to hear Cuomo explaining stuff away today. He went down the list. But she was for me, and I did this. But she was, I mean, you hit every case pretty much line by line. I thought that was pretty interesting. So quite honestly, I walked away confused. Because the first thing I heard, I was like, we got to go. Me too, Sabrina. They done the investigation, and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, well, we out of there. And then he came with his side of the story, and I was confused. So I think the investigation needs to be had. They need to get deep. And the truth will reveal itself. But I also know politics is involved, and they want him out. And they will do anything they need to do to get him out. Right. If he can compete, I mean, yeah. So you know what? They've been after his family for a long time. They've been after his family for a long time. There's a lot of background. And somebody said it's
cleared up because there's a lot more digging to do.
And you know what? And the last thing that we'll say is that one thing I will give him is he's standing his ground. I mean, when you look back over all of the men that have been accused of sexual harassment and the things that came out and the resignations and the whatnot, I mean, this has been going on for him, going on close to a year. It kind of calmed down, and then today it was all in the news, but he is standing his ground. He is not resigning, and he's kind of like, we're gonna play this thing out. So let's be clear, it's going to be a lot to talk about on We Got Issues. So you guys, real quickly, Caterina, tell us what's been going on in your world. Oh my goodness, just got in today on the flight. Talk to us.
Well, I just had probably a $5, $6, $7, $8,000 vegan sandwich, okay, because the exact same pink Escalade I was in when I was blessed to be in the processional for the Queen of Soul is the exact same pink Cadillac that I was in Oakland, California, that just got broken into. I mean, passport. I mean, literally, I was standing, and Anthony's like, why'd you get outside of the car? And I'm kind of like, I'm glad I wasn't in the car, because I think they scanned the car coming from the airport, and y'all know what, we techies, so we got laptop, iPad, everything. And I mean, just scanned and got Anthony's everything, from his passport, his everything,
What?
Everything, his iPad, his tablet, his everything. I had stepped out of the car. I was literally on the parking, on the sidewalk, coming out of picking up the food. And we went to 2 different restaurants, but literally, I think they literally watch you now, and they drive by your car. I have the Illinois license plates on it right now. So they say that makes your car stand out. And, literally, I think they drive by, they have some kind of scanner, and y'all, that's a whole other conversation for another day, because it's just some kind of way, I'm like, we saw them in an Audi, some young Black dudes. Why are we doing this to each other? So that it's just.
While you're standing there, they took the stuff out the car while you were standing there.
Mm-hmm. Somebody in front saw him, the person in back saw him, people just standing there, broad daylight.
Wow. That's horrible.
We just had a new alarm system installed, and the guy said that most things happen in the daylight. People are concerned about what happens at night, but most of that kind of theft out of houses, cars, it happens in broad daylight. Get this, 1 block from the police station. I could walk to the police station. Don't care. It's a problem. We got issues.
Yeah.
Everything's insured. It's all good. We'll get it back. But,
right.
I feel sorry.
But
and
still,
get this, Anthony's message was on forgiveness. Anthony's message.
I know it wasn't.
When they opened the laptop, he worked on it on the whole plane. When they opened the laptop, trials, tribulations, and forgiveness. I hope it convicts them. Okay.
Wow.
OMG.
Wow.
Well, we absolutely are going to pray that you guys get your stuff back. I mean, that's you feel so violated when something like that happens, but we're so glad that you're safe, Anthony's safe, and you're on with us today, Caterina. So we know it's all going to work out fine. Well, you guys, there's so much more to talk about, but I know we're coming up close to a break, but I absolutely want to bring on our amazing guest on today. I want everybody, welcome to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. Miss Sabrina Owens is with us on today. Welcome, Sabrina.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me today.
So, Sabrina, I need you to listen closely. When I'm talking to Sabrina Owens, I'm not talking to Sabrina Goodwin Monday, okay? I mean, that's going to be really interesting today. But you guys, we're so excited to have Sabrina on with us on today. I know I'm going to talk really, really quickly because we're coming up against a break. But you guys, today we decided we wanted to talk about Miss Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul herself. I mean, I had an opportunity on Sunday to go and to see the premiere of the Respect movie about the life of Aretha Franklin. And I'm going to tell you, I have an even greater respect for her just watching her life. And so we said, we got to do a show. We got to do a show and talk about Aretha Franklin. And immediately I thought, oh, I know somebody that can tell us a lot about the woman. It's one thing to hear about somebody from a friend or, somebody that kind of knew them, but it's a totally different thing when you hear about someone from their family. So today, Sabrina, we're so glad that you are here with us to share a little bit about the movie. I know we saw each other there, and a little bit about your aunt, because, a lot of people know her, but they don't know her intimately the way you do. So we absolutely want you to share your thoughts about that. So we have a few minutes, I believe, before we go to break. And so Sabrina, tell us first of all, a little bit about you.
Okay. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Sabrina Owens. I am Aretha's niece. My mom was Irma Franklin, Aretha's oldest sister. And so Aretha and I, we had a very close relationship. We always have from the time I was a child. She was a great aunt. She was just an aunt to me. I didn't have to look at her as Aretha Franklin, the superstar, this Queen of Soul. Yeah. She was truly my aunt. We had a wonderful relationship. We had great conversations. And we were the typical niece and aunt. If she wanted to get in me about something, she could. But we had a great time together. And so, I'm happy to be here today talking to you ladies and sharing my knowledge about my aunt. She was a very private person, as you can all imagine. I'm sure you've seen many, many interviews with her on TV. There was only so much she shared about herself. So I'm really glad that her fan base gets an opportunity to see her as a whole person. To see her as a woman, to see her as a wife, as a mom, in addition to being an entertainer, she was a great person. She was very generous.
Sabrina, I want you to hold that thought. We're getting ready to go to break. We got to pay some bills. But when we come back, we want you to tell us about your aunt, stories that nobody else would know. And we want you to share it right here on We Got Issues. We'll be right back with you. You're listening to 9:10 a.m. The Superstation with the force of friendship. We Got Issues. We'll be right back.
Hey, Facebook, I'm so excited to be here. She even looks like Aretha, doesn't she? She has a smile like Aretha. There's such pride when you're from a city and you see someone else there from Detroit. It's just super exciting that she's there and that she's going to be talking to us today. So this is exciting. I know, Carolyn, talk about the shock of something being stolen out of Caterina's car. That's just crazy. Can you guys even, I don't know. I don't know if I could be like standing up strong if my laptop, my iPad, like my paperwork was just taken from me. I mean, and on his laptop is his message about forgiveness. I mean, really, that's so crazy. That's just so crazy. So, if you've noticed, Crisette's smile always gets way bigger when it comes to talking about something about Detroit. And I totally get that. I totally get that feeling because Detroit, Aretha, and Jennifer, and her niece here who knew her intimately, I just love that kind of stuff because when God delivers such enormous talent into somebody and they do the right thing by changing the world with the talent that they've been given, I always wonder, how did they have a journey like that? How did they maneuver to the left and to the right when it was important? It's just so incredible. And then for Chris to reach out to her and for her to be in that place where she saw the movie being made and she goes to the debut and she does such a big tribute, and Aretha's celebration for life was at Greater Grace Church. I mean, just so many roads crossing. I don't know if you guys know, and I'll probably say it on the show, but Aretha's father lived around the corner. So Aretha lived around the corner for a little while we were in Detroit. I remember the big yellow house over on Virginia Park. So it's pretty exciting. So I'm listening to see what's going on. So you guys don't forget to call in because I know she's like the magic unicorn. It's true though. It is absolutely true. It is absolutely true. I mean, it is just, I wish that y'all could, let me tell you, when we get out of this pandemic stuff and we get together, you guys are going to want to hang out with us. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to want to hang out with us because it is going to be a blast for sure. And it's going to be so exciting. And we couldn't cover all the news today, but Simone Biles got back on the stage and got her medal. Okay, we got to go back to the radio.
We got issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation-WFDF, and we are here today and we're talking about everything Aretha Franklin. You guys know the new movie Respect just came out, and I want to encourage you guys to go see the movie. I promise you, I was sitting there, I was like, why didn't I put some tissue in my purse? Okay. I mean, it was an amazing movie. And today we feel so blessed to have with us Miss Sabrina Owens, who is the niece of Aretha Franklin. And prior to the break, she was telling us a little bit about her aunt. So Sabrina, we want you to share with us stories that maybe the movie didn't capture. And of course, you said she was your aunt. So talk a little bit about your aunt.
Aretha was an amazing person. And like I said, she was a very nice person. She was very generous. And I don't just mean like financially. I mean, she was great with gifts and things like that. But she was also very generous with her time and a great mentor. She was a great listener. She loved to talk on the phone. I could count on her calls at least once or twice a week. And when Aretha called, you had to set aside at least an hour of time to talk to her.
Wow.
And you couldn't break that conversation. You better not end that conversation before she did.
That is hilarious.
You had to be prepared to listen. And so if you knew that you didn't really have time, just let the phone ring, right? And call her back when you had time to talk, because she was going to talk. She was going to get everything out. But she also wanted to hear from you too. She loved her family. She really loved her family and was interested in everything that, was going on in your life and what was going on at work. And I don't know how many times she would say to me, she says, so tell me again, what is it you do? What do you do at work? And so she really was interested. She'd talk about her issues. She loved, of course, music. She was a perfectionist. She was not going to go into a concert unprepared. She was always there ahead of time. I can remember a conversation with her one time. We were talking about some hip hop artists, and I wasn't aware. I think I know now. It was the Black Eyed Peas, and at the time, I didn't know who the Black Eyed Peas were. And so she started telling me everything about the Black Eyed Peas, and I said, "Who are these people, and how do you know about this group? This is a young hip hop group." And she said, "It's my business to know. I'm supposed to know." And so she could tell you everything about all the artists. I don't care whether they were of her genre, if they were younger, if they were of like I said, a different genre. She knew everything about them. And she was always so willing to change and adapt to the times. And I think that's one reason why she was able to stay in the music business for over 50 years. She would collaborate with new and upcoming artists. If you remember, she collaborated with George Michaels, Annie Lennox. So change was nothing to her. I remember the video Jumpin' Jack Flash. I remember when I first saw her do that with the spiky hair and the black and white outfit. And I remember thinking to myself, that's really way out of her comfort zone. But she got comfortable with it because she was going to stay current. She was going to stay present. And that was very important to her. But just her professionalism and knowledge about the business was always impressive to me.
Wow. Sabrina, you know what? You've just said so many things that made me sit up and say, wow, so many lessons that she taught just in her life. So share with us, some of the lessons that you have taken away from her life.
I think from Aretha and all of the women in my family, what I learned was strength and perseverance and hard work. I come from a long line of very strong women, and it's like, we know what we have to do. You know what resources to pull together to get it done. You know how to collaborate with other people. You know how to work with teams to get things done. So, and the self-esteem, confidence, leadership abilities, all of that came from Aretha and the other aunts in my family. And that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. And also, more importantly too, is being concerned about other people and always being a voice for the voiceless. And like in my job, I'm a retired director of labor relations for the University of Michigan. And so I work a lot with unions and negotiating union contracts. And so I always keep in mind that, there are people and groups of people, who don't have the platforms that we have. And so that you have to take on the issues and champion issues for people like that. And Aretha was always like that. She loved the people of the city of Detroit. If you remember, every Thanksgiving, she was hosting a gospel concert at New Bethel Baptist Church. She'd bring in top name artists. At the end of the concert, she would have Mr. Fofos prepare meals. She would feed the people of the neighborhood. I remember one time, Crisette Emery King, remember he was the anchor on Channel 4 News?
Yes, absolutely.
Emery told me one time, he said, Sabrina, people really don't know how generous your aunt is. He said, I can't count the number of times she called the stations when we had stories about people who were burned out of their homes, who lost jobs, who somehow, didn't have the finances to stay in their homes, were evicted or whatever. And she wanted the contact information for those people so that she could reach out to them and help them. And he said she would never, ever let us report on it. He said, and I begged her to let us report on it, and she would never let us report on it.
Wow.
Now,
but
that's
again,
awesome.
She's just, it was nothing for her to look out for other people. That was important to her.
And I can remember, Sabrina, to add to that, Chuck told me on several occasions, Aretha would come up to the church and give him a check and say, use this, you're doing such great things in the community. I want to give you, money to support what you're doing. So she was a friend. I mean, when I say she loved Detroit, she loved giving back to Detroit. I mean, and that's just a few of the stories that we know, but we know that there are so many more stories about her generosity and how she did it in secret, and she did not want people to know where it came from. So that says a lot about who she is. Gloria, I know you had a question.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, Sabrina. I was telling people, when Chris gets to talk about Detroit, her smile goes like this, right? And I'm
Yes.
from Detroit as well. And in fact,
Okay.
Aretha's father's home was around the corner because I lived in Virginia Park. And
Okay.
so they had the house in Virginia Park. And so I am so excited. I probably saw you walk down the block and didn't even know it. So this
Yes,
is exciting to be right
exactly.
here with you. I'm serious. I would love to hear about her preparation. There's so much conversation about how prepared Aretha was, that she, and in all our lives, one of the life lessons that we hear about her is that she worked so hard with everybody. So when she came out on that stage, that perfection wasn't just pure talent. It was talent plus her preparation. So I wanted to know about that. And I wanted to know, usually when you have such extraordinary talent that you get to showcase, there's many other talents that you have that you may not choose to showcase because you have that talent. So if she has other talents that you knew about that we'd love to hear about, because just phenomenal. The whole family, everybody, just phenomenal.
Okay. Her preparation started in the morning. One of the best memories I ever have of traveling with Aretha, she loved to go to the Hamptons in summertime. And again, like I said, she loved her family. So on this particular trip, there was probably about 12 of us, and she'd rent a really large house. And this particular house had like 3 different levels to it. And my husband and I, we had a suite on the top floor. Every morning we woke up to Aretha running her notes. It was like hearing her in concert, because sort of like the fa la 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 kind of thing, but it was like, and she would do it for about an hour and a half to 2 hours every single morning, running her notes. And in this particular house, it had the vents in the house, and how sound travels up and you can hear the sound coming through the vents. And we wouldn't even get up. We would just lay there and listen to her beautiful melodious voice floating all through the house as she was making her runs. But when it on a show day, Aretha would go into a zone, and she would, if her show was in the evening, during the day, she would maybe at about 12 or 1 o'clock, she would start to get quiet. She didn't want anybody in her hotel room, or if you were in her hotel room, you had to, because sometimes she would say, "Oh, Sabrina, just come on in," but she wanted you to sit with her, but she didn't want you to talk to her. She just wanted you to be there. And we would watch TV. And if she asked a question, then it was okay to respond. But normally you could see her going into that zone. And by the time the concert, and it was then at some point, maybe a couple hours before, the hairdresser would come in, she'd talk a little bit to him, but she was more quiet. When you were in that car on that ride to the concert, you better not talk to her at all, because that wouldn't be pretty. I remember a car ride when we were riding to Luther's funeral, and we were leaving the Hamptons. He died while we were there. We were leaving the Hamptons in the car, and somebody in the car, and I won't name who, started talking to her, started asking her questions, and that did not go well. Because like I said, she went into the zone, and she stayed into that zone until she hit the stage, until she finished. When the concert was over, you're good to go. You could talk to her, but she practiced every single day. Every day. And perfect example was when she did Nessun Dorma, at the Grammys with about 10 minutes notice. She had sang the song before, but again, they came in, he got sick. And she said, just, give me the cassette. She listened to the music, and she went out there and she blew it away. But she practiced every day. And some of her hidden talents, Gloria, is, people saw her on the piano, but she was gifted. She did not read music. That was just a natural talent. She could just get on that piano and she could play, and she could play beautifully. And some of my most memorable moments at all the concerts, I always wanted to see her get on the piano and play, because it was always so beautiful when she did that. But other than that, music was her love. It was her life. And that's pretty much what she did. Yeah.
Wow. What a story. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Yes.
Right.
I also had an uncle who played, he's a musician, who played with Aretha around the country for a few years. So he talked about her preparedness and how she did not play about her craft. And I know there was a certain food that she wanted when she was in her dressing room, and there was a certain temperature that she needed it to be. Yes. So talk a little bit about on the road and some of her favorite foods, because I do know that she did not play what she needed to have to be at her best. Yes, Aretha, some of her favorite foods she loved.
And it didn't have to be a holiday. It didn't have to be Christmas or Thanksgiving or any of that. She loved those chitlins, and she was really good at cooking them. And my mom, like, I love chitlins too, but I'm not touching them. I'm not cooking them. I'm not touching them. So my mom used to cook my chitlins. And then when my mom passed, I was like, Auntie, could you do some chitlins for me? And she was like, sure. When do you want to pick them up? How much do you need? And so she would cook chitlins for me. So she loved she loves soul food. She loves soul food. She loved oxtails. So at least once a week, she was fixing oxtail soup. She loved that. Now she loved her French cuisine and all that kind of stuff, but soul food was definitely her favorite food. Macaroni and cheese. She loved making sweet potato pies. And so that was her favorite. I'm sorry, Sabrina, you asked me, there was another part to that question. No, there was a point where there was a point when she stopped flying. When I was growing up, she flew everywhere. She flew over to Europe and all that. And at some point, Aretha had a bad plane ride. She said that and it was probably one of those prop planes, like if you go into the islands, you fly the big plane and you get on the prop plane. And she said that plane was bouncing around so much in the air, she just lost her nerve. She lost her nerve, and she wanted to get back on a plane again. She would plan trips to the airport, walk around the airport. She said, Sabrina, if I want to take a short trip, would you fly with me? I'm like, of course I'll fly with you. So she said, well, maybe we'll fly to Cleveland, or maybe we'll fly to Chicago. But she could never get to that point again. So that plane ride must have been awful for her, because she truly did want to get back on a plane, because she wanted to fly and entertain internationally again, but she just couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. But on the bus, she always wanted, she'd call up and she'd say, hey, Sabrina, like I went to the Kennedy Center Honors with her every year. You're going to get that call. It was usually on around the 5th of December that Kennedy Center Honors came on. So she always wanted somebody to travel with her. And I would get on a bus with her. And she said, I'm tired of traveling with all these guys, because she was surrounded by her security team, which was normally 98% males. And so you travel on the bus, and she liked to, chat on the bus. She loved to look through her magazines. She liked to read. She'd ask the driver often to stop, and she wanted to walk around. So she was like enamored with like Walmart and Target and stores like that, because they were so huge. But you think about it, entertainers, they don't get a chance to do that. When they're superstars, what's normal to us, like Target. I love Target. That's sort of, I'm like, I love walking around here and just seeing things. But, for her to be able to just walk around the store and nobody bother her. So she was like, there's this place called Walmart. And, I have the driver stop all the time. And she'll walk like an hour and a half just to stretch her legs and get out. And she, she just was like, this store is amazing. She said, they have everything in here. Have you seen these stores, Sabrina? I'm like, yeah, I've seen those stores. But, those.
Did anybody ever say you look like her? Because you look like her a lot.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because her and my mom favorite. Yeah.
Really? Okay, I see.
She loved to go grocery shopping. She loved to go to the Kroger up there on Telegraph and Maple. They knew her in there. She wanted to do her own shopping when she could. It was nothing for her on her way in home from a trip to stop that bus at the Kroger, go in, do her grocery shopping while she heads home. Because she liked she liked being normal and doing normal things, And most people were respectful of her when they saw her out, if they saw her at restaurants, and especially if she was actually eating, she would say to them, and they would say, oh, Ms. Franklin, would you sign this for me? Would you sign that for me? And she'd say, sure, I'd be happy to sign it after I finish eating, and they would back off. But yeah, she was so normal. She was very normal. Wow. And so it was easy to talk to her. I could talk to her about anything, get advice, guidance. We'd bounce ideas off of each other. And so it was really nice. Yeah.
This is so
Sabrina, this is so good. We have a caller. We have a caller, and
Okay.
you know who it is. Marathon is on the line. Marathon is on the line. So, Marathon, thank you for holding. Thank you for holding. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. We got issues. What's on your mind, Marathon?
Yes, Aretha was one of my all-time favorite artists, and I wish I would have gotten to meet her. I did get to meet and work with Stevie, but I didn't get to meet Aretha. But I patterned my piano playing after Aretha and after Donny Hathaway. Those are my two favorites. But Aretha knew my cousin, Bobby Smith of the Spinners. And Aretha was responsible, and she strongly suggested that the Spinners come to Atlantic Records. And that's why they came to Atlantic Records from Motown. And so I thank her for that.
Wow. Hey, Marathon, before we let you go, what is one of your most favorite Aretha Franklin songs?
Call me the moment you get there.
Yeah, baby.
I cry every time it comes on.
Oh, wow, that is so awesome. Marathon, thank you so much for being a super fan. We appreciate it every time you call in. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So,
to jump in quickly first, just thank you again, Sabrina. Your family, just you being on We Got Issues is so meaningful, and your family just giving us that peek inside two of the things that will stand out in my life forever. Thank you, Crisette, is being there and seeing how she was honored at her homegoing service and being a part of that processional and standing at President Obama's inauguration. And
yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
That was a wonderful experience. I love that.
That was.
We had
Oh
an
my
awesome
God.
time. But I'm telling
I mean,
you,
to be
you're talking about
selected,
cold.
that was so
I've never
amazing.
felt cold like that before.
yes,
I know, right?
yes. It
No,
was
Even
I
from
did.
Detroit, that was cold. It was so cold.
But it was one of the best
so
experiences of my
cold.
life. Yeah.
I have a question. I have a couple of questions, but one question is, what would you say in Aretha what advice would she give to young artists today? She was so grounded, so big, and yet so approachable. And to quote what you said, Bishop Jake said, Crisette, full of capacity. I mean, so talented, so big, and yet not too celebrity to be able to help and just
Relate.
all the attributes.
Right.
And so where did that come from, and how would she help other young artists to stay in that zone today?
I think she would sort of reach back into her own habits and patterns and basically tell people is always be prepared, and that you have to study, just continue to study, continue to practice, learn as much as you can about your craft, learn about others in the industry, find out what music you love. But I think you have to be consistent, and you have to, really love the music and try to learn as much as you can about it, and be patient, because as Crisette will be able to tell you, in part of the movie, it shows that, her journey, and she didn't just, get to be the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, even in a year, 2 years, 3 years. I think it was about 9 or 10 years before she got her, big hit and big chance. So it's like, stick to it, and just don't give up, and do your best. Mm-hmm. But you have to be prepared to do your best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sabrina, let me ask you this. We know that there have been, several movies depicting the life of Aretha Franklin. We know that there have been movies that have come with some controversy. So tell us about the Respect movie. What does the family think about the movie? When you all saw it, would you say that, and I have to give a shout out to Tommy, who was the producer of the movie. I thought she did a fantastic job. Yeah. But a lot of times, families aren't always 100% happy with the final cut of a movie. So talk to us a little bit about that. There's feedback. Okay.
Thanks, Michael.
I don't know why that was twice,
That's
but
okay.
Sabrina, talk to us about the movie.
So right now, Crisette, everybody in the family is very happy with the movie. We really love the way it came out. For me, it was, like I said, again, chronicling her journey, showing how she got to where she is, talking about the issues that impacted her. And I won't give the issues away and give the movie away, but talk about the issues that, impacted her, how she overcame these issues, showing her level of strength, showing how her mother's presence in her life impacted her. I always got so tired of reading all these articles along Aretha's lifetime about how her mother abandoned the family. And that simply was not true. But the story got out there and it just kept being repeated. And so I love the way that Lisa actually told that story and showed how Aretha's mother was in fact in her life, even though the mom and the dad and home split up. But she was in their life. She came and saw her children. She picked her children up. They spent, summers with her. She only lived a couple of years after the separation. But I love the fact that they showed that. I love the fact that they dealt with difficult issues, very difficult issues, and how Aretha, navigated her way through those issues, overcame the issues, and the strength, that we learn from adversity. And so all of those experiences in her life, impacted the woman that she became. And so I always think it's important, especially for women and for young women. And I talk to my granddaughters all the time about your strength and resilience and how you have to, you're going to make mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. And so it showed all that in her life. And again, the different components and aspects of her as a person and as a woman. So at this point, everybody is pleased with the movie. I know I really enjoyed it. And I've seen it a couple of times now. And, the second time I saw some things that I didn't see the first time. And I think, again, Lisa, directors are always going to take, some creative licenses with things. But
right.
For me, I think that the attention to detail, I think the authenticity of the majority of the things that she told, and I was fine with it. Yeah, I like it.
So,
and I have a question.
How did she go about choosing Jennifer Hudson to play her in that role?
So we would have conversations about the movies, and most of our conversations were vetting potential prospects for who was going to play this and who's going to play that. And at some point, I remember she talked about Halle Berry. And so it was for different reasons that she was talking about different artists. Halle, because at some point when you look at the young Aretha, there was a resemblance there. It didn't matter to her that Halle wouldn't be able to sing like her. She said, that doesn't matter. You're going to take care of that. At some point she talked about Fantasia, playing her, and then Jennifer. And those are the only three that I really remember her really expressing an interest in them playing her. She would say, who do you think you should play Daddy? Well, that's what we call CL. Who do you think should play Daddy? And, and she talked about Denzel Washington. And then, of course, it ended up being Forrest Whitaker. She talked about Terrence Howard playing Smokey, because he favors Smokey a lot. And she said, well, Sabrina, who do you think should play Irma? So we talked about who should play my mom. And, I said, Melinda Williams, who, of Soulful. And I said, well, maybe she looks a lot like my mom. And the two actresses that end up playing my mom and Carolyn are both Broadway actresses. They don't really favor my mom or Carolyn, but it's okay. They did a great job and their voices are fantastic. So I'm sure that's why they were selected. But she had different criteria for each role that she wanted to play. And those were her considerations as she was choosing people. Jennifer Hudson, of course, she's a powerhouse in terms of her voice. And they were able to even in certain scenes, Crisette, and you may have seen this too, where Jennifer actually favored Aretha in certain scenes. And she certainly captured Aretha's essence all throughout the movie. Her moves, there was a lot of her moves that she got down, and just her articulation of Aretha's voice. And but it was mostly about Jennifer's voice. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love Aretha and I just love Jennifer. And I'm like going back and forth like this is just, and I haven't even seen the whole thing yet. I've just seen the trailers. It's just so awesome. I would love for you to share just a little bit about the back scene of her tremendous passion for civil rights. You know, I just think that they don't highlight it enough, but I'm so glad that they do highlight it. But from your vantage point, her passion for it, her extension that she went, I mean, she made very courageous moves when it came to civil rights. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, of course, that came from my grandfather. You know, he was very much into civil rights. He had a mega church before people even used the term mega church. You know, he had 5,000 memberships. And there were a lot of business owners and people that often came to the church, and he used them as resources. And again, he was all about helping those that were less fortunate, you know, that did not have a platform, that could not speak for themselves. Aretha saw that all of her life. That's how she was raised. And you know, seeing Martin Luther King come to the house, he was a friend of her father's before he was actually embraced by other members. So she would see Martin Luther King come to the house. He was CL was involved in the civil rights movement with SCLC. He was very instrumental in bringing the original the March on Washington. You know, I forget what year it was, that the march was here in Detroit down Woodward Avenue, and it drew over 125,000 people. And that was the test march. So this is what she saw, and this is how she was raised. And she knew that, you know, what is the saying? Those who are given much or there's much expected from us. And that's all she knew. So giving back, getting involved in the movement, and you know, wanting to do more. At first, initially, it was going out on the road with my grandfather, singing with him, and then singing for Martin Luther King. And then as she became an adult, she basically said, you know, I want to do more. And then she took on, you know, the challenge of Angela Davis, and, you know, helped to get her out of jail when she was jailed. So it was in her blood. It was that's what she knew. And so, you know, it's not surprising to those of us who know that, but a lot of people until she died did not know how involved in civil rights that she was. And she, you know, financed a lot of campaigns, paid for staff salaries when, you know, money was low. So she literally put her money where her mouth was. Yeah.
Right. So when she saw President Barack Obama, she just must have been so moved. I mean, we all were, but I mean, can you even imagine? I mean, help us imagine what it felt like for her.
She was very proud that we had our first Black president. And so she was, you know, anytime they called her and they wanted to do anything, she was anxious to do it. Because as her dad said about her in the movie, she was bursting with pride about it. So it was a very special moment when we were there for the inauguration, and she was very excited about being there, and you know, just the changes that were happening in the world. So it was a very exciting time for her. Yeah.
Wow, that is so awesome. You guys, I would be remiss if I didn't just share a few of her achievements. Okay, she charted 43 of the 40. She charted 43 top 40 singles. She was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. She won 18 Grammy Awards. She also is a Grammy legend. And Gloria, you may not know this, but she also was given an honorary degree, Doctors of Arts at Harvard University, as well as a Doctor of Music at Princeton University. And when I tell you, if you see all the awards that she achieved during her lifetime, it's just amazing.
Yeah. And she was so humble about it all. You know, she was just doing what she knew to do, and what she loved, and she was very humble, very proud of her achievements, but also very humble.
Wow.
Sabrina, what's in the future? Like, is there are many of her awards in museum, or is there something coming? Is there I know the street was named after her. I could tell I'm not from Detroit, so I know several things have taken place, but is there anything we can look forward to in addition to the movie?
Well, I'm sure at some point, the family would be giving a lot of her, or not giving some of her things to the African American Museum. Of course, we want to give more to the one here, to the the new one in DC, probably merchandising type things. So I'm sure there'll be more to come, and maybe even
Awesome.
more movies. Who knows? Because this particular movie stopped when she was at about 29 years old. So there's a lot more of her life to cover if somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there any other music?
At the same time as Amazing Grace. I'm sorry.
Is there any other music? Any other music? Prince, they just released another song. Okay. So
I know.
I'm just wondering,
who knows?
any more
right?
music?
There may be.
We want more music. We want more music.
Right. I know.
Okay, so I have one more question. Who is her most famous best friend?
Her favorite what?
Her favorite, who is the most famous person that we would know that was really close to her?
Let me see. Jesse Jackson was very close to her. They were really good friends. Smokey Robinson, because he was a childhood friend. He only lived around the corner from her, and he was her brother's best friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you imagine having Smokey Robinson as your best friend? And I just so remember at the funeral, he gave such a beautiful tribute to Aretha Franklin. You guys, where did the hour go? I can't believe it.
Sabrina, you are awesome. You're so awesome.
Yes. Sabrina, thank you so much for your time on today and sharing, your memories of your aunt. We are just so honored that we're here on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you
guys,
for inviting me.
I can't say it.
I enjoyed the conversation.
You are so welcome. Absolutely. You guys, you got to check out the Respect movie. You got to go see it. I absolutely know that you will absolutely love it. You guys, you've been listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was so excellent. That was so fabulous, Sabrina. Oh, you let us know. Yeah.
Thank you for the stories.
Yes, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Sabrina, you did an amazing job. I knew that you would, so I'm not surprised. And just thank you. We can't even say thank you enough to you and to the family for, sacrificing everything that you guys had to sacrifice.
So the world could enjoy her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Crisette, Mardise just said that she told Alexa to play some Aretha, so everybody's gonna be jamming right now.
Exactly. We are gonna be turning on. And you know what? I wanted to ask you, Sabrina, what is your most favorite song?
I have to say it's Ain't No Way.
Oh yeah.
Ain't no way for me to love you if you won't let me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But an album that never really got the airplay that it should have, that is probably one of my favorites, Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, if you have an opportunity to pick up Wonderful, that album is off the charts. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, but it never, for whatever reason, I think it was because she was in between contracts, didn't really have what do you call it?
Force behind the company.
Yeah, she didn't have a recording company at that time, and because a lot of artists, when they get to be a certain age, they have no contracts. They really have no contracts, and that was during a time when she didn't have one. So that particular album did not get promoted like it should have, did not get marketed like it should have. But that album is good.
Wonderful. Okay,
I love Ain't No Way.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be on repeat.
We're glad that you're here with us, Sabrina. We're super glad. That was amazing.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, ladies.
Yeah.
Awesome conversation. And I have to tell you, I have to put in my little 2 cents on Governor Cuomo.